sitting next to a dinner with an old man, and it was a dinner thing, a black tie thing, and he was sipping his glass, and he looked at me and said, Christianity, it's like wine and cheese. I thought, oh no. And he said, cheesy music, whiny people. And I just lost it. But yeah, I suppose. And so we chatted about it for quite a while. And then, I would have said, if I'd met him, when I was, in my teens, I would have agreed with him completely. The thing that my atheism, I've been atheist for a long time. One of the things questions that always trouble me, I don't know if you have this question. The question is always inside of me is why? Like at school, I was a pain because we'd be told about things, and in chemistry, if you mix this and this, it goes blue. And I said, why? Why? And it started when I was 12, and I was brought up on a farm with lots of sheep and people like that, sheepy people, and it was pouring with rain. It was in Northumberland. There was this big steel iron bridge that goes over the River Tyne. And it was one of those downpours where you have to get shelter somewhere. I went under the bridge with Simon Armstrong, who was my friend then, and worked on the farm together, and we were listening to the rain beating against the steel iron. And do you ever have those moments where you're staring so long at something, your mind drifts? And I was staring at these rivets, and I started wondering quietly who'd put the rivets in and why. And I said to Simon, why do you think can you imagine who did that? And he said, what? The rivets. What do you mean? Like 100 years ago, the guy who did those. All right, what about it? He said, why do you think he did it? And he said, well, to keep the bridge up, I guess. But beyond that, why did he do it? It's his job, get paid. Why did you get paid? Food. Okay, so we're alive because we have to eat, therefore we're just alive to survive. Is that right? Is that why we're here, just to survive? He said, well, no, you'd probably to have kids. Oh, so just to pass on our genes. We're alive to pass on our genes, then we die. Is that it? And I wasn't trying to be a pain. I was really kind of concerned with this question because I wanted purpose. And just, I said, what about Mrs. Johnson in number 14? She hasn't got kids. Is she obsolete, therefore? Is she have no value? Mrs. Johnson, great woman, no kids, not married. And then it was a long, then he said, well, maybe he did it because he wants to be loved. Mrs. Johnson again, what happens if he isn't loved? Well, she needs to get out more. Well, she doesn't go out. Is that it? So all we're doing really is trying to find someone, trying to get loved, trying to procreate, just get the genes on, and then you just disappear and that's it. Is that really it? Why? Why? Come on. And there was no answer, and I became this proverbial pain up the arse, making people answer that question. And I was never given one. Science told me how, never why. School never told me why. And my atheism sort of basically answered the question why by saying there's no reason except for your genes. So therefore, if you don't pass them on, you've kind of failed. No pressure there, is there? Weirdly, I don't know if you've ever been through this, but my best friend, when I was 19, was killed in his car. We were very, very close. I was brought up with him. And the answer to why lay really at his funeral, bizarrely, or the start of it. And I was looking into the coffin, or the hole where he was. And my brain went through all our times together. And one of my favorite songs had always been David Bowie's Ground Control to Major Tom, Space Oddity. And the line we used to love in the car, I don't know if you know this, but David Bowie, do you know who David Bowie is? He just died? A phenomenon. The line was this, about Major Tom. It was halfway through the song, it just says, check ignition, and what? May God's love be with you. And we used to scream it as atheists, may God's love be with you, because it felt really good. Major Tom, you listen to the song, if you haven't heard it, then shame on you, but he's off into space on his own. Check ignition, Major Tom, and may God's love be with you. And I thought, wow, that's gorgeous. It's not religion, it's just like, you're not alone, are you, Major Tom? And so I was looking in his grave, and I was thinking about this. And the next day, I came to London. I didn't really know London. I was on a tube, and I was actually standing on the platform. The tube pulled in, and it was the wrong one. And on the other side of the platform, a huge poster. It just said, cast your burdens onto Jesus because he loves you. the Bible Society. I hated the Bible. Cast your burdens on. I was fragile, like heart aching. And any sympathy, when Jeremy died, if your soulmate is killed, no one can say anything, really. You try it. They go, oh, never mind, mate. Be all right? Oh. Sorry about that. Cast your burdens onto Jesus because he loves you. And I read it over and over and over again. I thought, I'm not going to get religious. I can't get religious. But does it have any meaning? Is there any meaning there? And it's a present tense, because he loves. That means, does he exist? Is there some sort of living entity that loves you? So I questioned it, and I dug and dug and dug. And I didn't go to church because I hated religion, particularly the idea of the institution. I thought it was like a big bully. But I discovered this. The more you dig, the more you find that the answer to the reason why lies in him. It's a weird statement. I can't believe I'm saying it. But the reason why we exist, beyond the rivets, beyond money, beyond color, beyond creed, beyond money, beyond failure, beyond exams passed, beyond whether you have kids or you don't have kids, but whether you get married, all the aspirations you have, beyond all of that leaves it all in the ground, is the notion that you are loved unconditionally, permanently, eternally, forever, as you are. And you are free to not have kids, free to fail, free to be you, free to be just what you are, without thinking, will this rivet, putting this, will I get what I'm supposed to get, will I achieve? Because that's like a flipping whip on your back. This is, no, you don't have to really do anything, you're loved as you are. And I went around speaking to vicars saying, is this true? Is this true? Well, yes, I suppose so. What do you mean, I suppose so? Is it true? If it isn't, then bin it fast. It's the most dangerous statement ever made. If it is true, it's the greatest thing ever written. That's my view. Gate. Can we have a picture of my gate there? It has Beware the Dogs on it. It's a really hostile-looking gate. It's black. Someone rang it the other day, and I answered it. And the voice behind the door said, is it safe? I said, what do you mean? Is it safe? Can I come in? I said, yeah, all right, you can come in. It's safe. Can we have a picture of the other side of the gate? Do we have that? Just a tiny one with the little dog at the bottom? No. Anyway, I've got this tiny dog who looks around. He's really fun. Anyway, it's another story. So the guy came into the garden, and he walked about 10 paces down like this, looking around, because it's all very overgrown. And then he just stopped, and he reversed very slowly and turned and looked at this. It's a large bronze, huge bronze of the prodigal son, covered in brambles, and it's an embrace. So he's walking past, and he walks back. It's very big. It's like much bit higher than you or I. And he just used the F word about 3 times. It was great. And he said that, and he said, what is that? And I said, oh, it's a bronze. He said, no, it's a bronze. But what's it? Oh, when the father hugs the son in the story of the prodigal son. He said, oh, we did that in RE. I didn't know it was about hugging. I said, yeah, it's about hugging. He said, what do you mean it's about hugging? And I described. Do you know the story? Maybe you don't know the story, but it's about a father who has 2 sons. One of them just, does what we all do and just says, I'm out of here, and leaves. I don't like you, or I want to be my own boss. And eventually, but the whole notion is that Jesus tells it, and it's about really the nature of God. It's not really about the son. And as we were staring at it, he was going F, F, F. And then he goes, the thing is, Joey, thing is, look at those brambles. That's my life. He said, I get caught up in all this crap. I'm always caught up in crap. And I said, yeah, but you're loved. He said, well, in spite of that. Yeah, in spite of that. So that's our condition. Our condition is we get caught up in crap. To be human is to be messy. But the thing is, can you grasp the reality that Jesus tells a story about love, the love of a father for someone who was caught up in so much crap, it's so much pigdom, he didn't know what to do with it, essentially, which represents being lost. But in that lostness, he finds a little way, and they meet together, and he hugs him. And it was actually quite a moving sort of situation. He said to me, he was staring at it, he said, do you know what? And he looked back at my gate, he says, your house doesn't really look great from the outside. It kind of looks pretty scary. Then when you get in, it's kind of the reverse. And we were chatting about it, and I said, yeah, I suppose, it pretty much sums up Christianity, doesn't it? Actually. Looks like a slap. Well, you're this, you do that? Oh, gee, well, no. Actually, it's this. Because no one is good. You may be on the outside, you may see a sea of smiley people singing songs, and no one's good. There's only one reason why anyone has access to God freely, and that's called the grace of God, and that's that. Whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever you do, whatever you're doing, whatever you're thinking right now, how you want to, I don't know, just remember this one truth, that you're loved beyond all, beyond the rivers, beyond everything. And you're known and always will be known, and you're free. And that's the essence of the Christian faith. And then this guy said another thing. He looked at it, he said, wasn't there another brother? And I said, yeah. He said, where's he then? Wasn't he all judgmental? I said, yeah. Well, maybe he's in the bushes staring. Oh, so we again laughed about that. And he said, no, he's not in the bushes. That's your gate. Your gate is the older brother. Your gate's the one who goes, yeah. But where are you? You can't come in. Sorry. If you've experienced that from a Christian perspective, I'm really sorry. Really sorry. Nothing to do with it. It's an absolute embrace for the human race.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You will lead me through the fire, and in darkest night you were close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God, yeah. And all my life you have been faithful. Oh, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God, yeah. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh, your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running, it keeps running after me. And all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God.